Chalo. So students, in the last period we have started the topic materials, metals and non-metals, and regarding the metals and non-metals I have explained the various I have explained the various points regarding the metals and non-metals. That is, metals are hard and lustrous. They produces the ringing sound when struck with any hard material. Then we have good conductor of heat and electricity because they are having free electrons or mobile electrons or delocalized electrons. Or metals are said to possess the sea of electron, and in this way we have studied the properties. Again, the most important properties of the metals are the malleability and ductility. So metals can be converted into thin sheet. This property is called malleability, and metals can be drawn into wire. This is called ductility. So I have told you the various examples of metals. For example, sodium, potassium, lithium, these are the metals. Then you can say magnesium, calcium metals, then iron, copper, aluminium, gold, silver, manganese, all these are the metals. So in the periodic table you will find that there are most of the elements which are metals, and metals are generally solid except mercury. So about non-metals, I have told you that non-metals are you can say brittle, and that is they can be converted into powder by hammering, isn't it? Then we have studied the next point, bad conductor of heat and electricity, non-malleable and non-ductile, and you can say they are not lustrous except iodine. So iodine is the solid non-metal which is lustrous, and metals may be solid, liquid or gases, isn't it? Solid non-metals I have told you various examples. Then we were studying about the chemical reactions of the metals, and we have seen that the metals, some metals like sodium, potassium, when they are exposed to the atmosphere, they react with the air and moisture, and you can say liberate hydrogen gas. For example, sodium, if added in water, it liberates hydrogen gas, and it reacts with water with hissing sound. So there is a formation of hissing sound, and you can say it burns on the water also, and immediately forms sodium hydroxide with the liberation of hydrogen gas. That chemical reaction we have studied. And as they are very reactive, therefore these metals like sodium, potassium, they are stored in the kerosene. So they are stored in the kerosene to avoid their oxidation if they are kept in open vessel or in closed vessel without kerosene. And then other metals, for example magnesium, iron, copper, silver, when they are exposed to the atmosphere, they also react with the moisture and air, and you can say forms also react with air and moisture, and you can say their rusting starts. For example, magnesium, twice Mg plus O2 giving twice MgO. So this is the, you can say their oxidation of that is its oxidation. Magnesium get oxidized when exposed to the atmosphere. So twice Mg plus O2 giving twice MgO. Then sodium also get oxidized. We have just studied the reaction. Then you can say iron also get oxidized. For example, iron when exposed to the atmosphere and air, that is moisture, then it also get rusted, and it forms its oxide film. And similarly, you can say silver also reacts with the sulfur of the atmosphere and turns blackish. Copper vessel, you may be using the copper vessel for storing the water, because copper water is most beneficial to our digestive system, and you can say it relieves the stomach pain. It relieves the pain in our stomach, and thus you can say that the copper also turns greenish pale green color. So twice Cu plus H2O plus CO2 plus O2 giving CuOH by 2 plus CuCO3. Just see the reaction. Learn by heart means पाठ करणे. So you have to learn by heart, म्हणजे पाठच करावं लागेल. Initially in the 8th standard you have to learn by heart, and as you will go to learn higher chemistry in the higher classes, you will understand how it is remembered. So twice Cu plus H2O plus CO2 plus O2 giving CuOH by 2 plus CuCO3 plus CuCO3, and in this way this is the basic copper carbonate having pale green color. In this way metals get oxidized. Then about non-metals generally do not get oxidized when exposed to the atmosphere, but they on heating, for example, they form their oxide. So metals and non-metals, when they are heated with oxygen, they form their oxide. That means oxide means when the element combines with oxygen, there is a formation of its oxide. And you will find S plus O2 giving SO2, C plus O2 giving CO2, CO2 plus H2O giving H2CO3, and SO2 plus H2O giving H2SO3, sulfurous acid, H2CO3 means carbonic acid. In this way we get the acids when non-metallic oxides are dissolved in the water. So phosphorus also form phosphorus pentaoxide, phosphorus trioxide, phosphorus pentaoxide having formula P2O5. P2O5 means phosphorus pentaoxide, PO3 means phosphorus trioxide. When they dissolve in water, they produces phosphorus and phosphoric acid, and in this way we get the phosphorus and phosphoric acid. Now the next part. So in this way we can say that if the non-metallic oxides like CO2, SO2 are taken, if the non-metallic oxide like CO2, SO2 are taken, if they are dissolved in water, and if the blue litmus paper is tested, then you will find that the blue litmus paper turns red, indicating that non-metallic oxides are acidic in nature. And about the metallic oxide, we have also studied in the last period that the metallic oxides are basic in nature. For example, MgO powder is shaken with the water, there is a formation of magnesium hydroxide, MgOH by 2, and if you will bring the red litmus paper, it will turn blue. And in this way, if you will take sodium oxide, and if it is dissolved in water, it forms sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide turns red litmus paper blue, and in this way metallic oxides are basic in nature, non-metallic oxides are acidic in nature. Remember these two sentences which are very important while studying the chemistry. While studying the chemistry in the 8th standard, in the 9th standard, in the 10th standard, in the 11th standard, in the 12th standard. So these are the most important two sentences. Metallic oxides are basic in nature, and that is turns red litmus paper blue, and non-metallic oxides are acidic in nature, turns blue litmus paper red. So in this way we have studied various points. Now the next point that we have to study, displacement reaction. Displacement reaction. Now about the displacement. Now the name itself indicates displacement. So displace. So regarding the displacement reaction, we can say that a metal which is more reactive, than other metal, then a more reactive metal can displace the other metal having low reactivity from its salt solution. So, or in higher terms, in another words, we can also say that metal having higher oxidation potential, can displace the metal having lower oxidation potential from its salt solution. So remember, a metal having higher oxidation potential can displace the metal having lower oxidation potential from its salt solution, And similarly, we can say that a metal having high reactivity can displace the metal having low reactivity from its salt solution. For example, zinc having more reactivity. So, for example, take a copper sulfate solution, aqueous solution, plus add zinc dust or zinc filling or zinc dust or zinc metal. What will happen? You will get ZnSO4 plus Cu. So zinc sulfate, this is zinc sulfate and this is copper metal. And about this is copper sulfate. So copper sulfate, take the 50 ml of copper sulfate having blue colored solution. Now the color of the copper sulfate is blue, and add zinc sulfate, add zinc metal or zinc dust, solid zinc dust into copper sulfate and check. You will find that slowly the zinc displaces the copper from copper sulfate solution, because zinc is more reactive than copper, therefore displaces the copper, and this blue color of the copper sulfate gradually becomes fade and finally it becomes colorless. So it becomes colorless because the blue color of the copper sulfate is due to the presence of copper metal, and copper metal get displaced slowly by the zinc, and you can say the zinc sulfate is formed. And such reaction, and remember, if you measure the temperature of the copper sulfate initially just with the help of thermometer, note down the temperature of the copper sulfate solution, and after noting the copper sulfate solution, temperature of the copper sulfate solution, add zinc powder, zinc dust, and shake it for 10 to 15 minutes. The reaction will take place. You will observe the displacement reaction and zinc sulfate will be formed. And during this reaction, there is a evolution of heat, and this evolution of heat, you can say the evolution of heat takes place and copper get displaced. Excuse me. हॅलो, हां बोल. जय जिनेंद्र बोल. हां नाही सांग ना तू पटकन काय आहे ते. मी शाळेत आहो म्हणून. हो सांग ना. हां कुठे? घरी जाईल मी आता थोड्या वेळाने, एक तासाच्या आत, 1 तासाने. नाही सांग तर घरी काय आहे आता. बरं बरं ठीक आहे, ठीक आहे. हो हो ठीक आहे. हो. sorry. So in this reaction, there is a liberation of heat. So heat is liberated. And therefore, all displacement reactions are exothermic reaction. So all displacement reactions are exothermic reaction, and you can say that they are accompanied by evolution of heat. Now similarly, you can write another reaction. Have you noted this reaction? So while learning online also, there should be notebook and pen. Note down what your teachers are teaching to you. So that will be the best. And in this way, if you will note down, it will be easy to remember what the teachers have taught you. So remember, so here instead of zinc, I am taking epiphyllene or episolid, or you can also here write epiphyllene. Here we get FeSO4, iron sulfate, iron 2 sulfate plus copper plus heat. So all displacement reactions are exothermic. Then you can take CuSCuCl2, or you can write another reaction, for example by taking Pb. So here in the book what is given, so I will tell you copper sulfate plus zinc, copper sulfate plus iron, copper sulfate plus Pb. So zinc, copper sulfate, zinc, iron, lead, these are more reactive than copper. Therefore, these elements, zinc, iron, copper, lead, zinc, iron, lead, they are more reactive than copper, displaces the copper from copper sulfate solution. Remember. And if you take iron sulfate plus Cu, so see, iron sulfate plus Cu. If you take iron sulfate plus Cu, here there will be no reaction. FeSO4, ZnSO4 plus Cu, no reaction. So why no reaction? Because copper is less reactive than zinc, Fe, etc. And you can say that the copper cannot displace the zinc from zinc sulfate. Copper cannot displace the Fe from Fe sulfate. झालं का टाइम सर? हाँ, copper cannot displace the you can say Fe from FeSO4 solution from ferrous sulfate. So name of this is ferrous sulfate or iron 2 sulfate. So in this way, element which is more reactive can displace the less reactive element from its salt solution. Remember, from its salt solution, if you will take copper metal, if you will take iron metal, and if these two metals are displaced, nobody will be displaced, isn't it? So Fe cannot displace the copper, copper cannot displace the Fe, and you have to take the salt solution. Salt solution of copper, salt solution of other metal which are less reactive, and add the more reactive metal in the salt solution. So salt solution, in the salt solution, why there is a need of salt solution? Because in the salt solution, in the aqueous solution, there is a formation of ions. So copper sulfate, when solid copper sulfate, when dissolved in water, it forms ions Cu2 positive plus SO4 2 negative. And in this way, you can say due to formation of ions, the displacement reaction becomes easy. For example, if you take solid copper sulfate plus if you add Fe, solid Fe, there will be no displacement. isn't it? So remember, and all displacement reactions are exothermic, that is heat is liberated. So after completion of reaction, so I have told you that if you take the copper sulfate solution in 50 ml of beaker and if you insert the thermometer for noting down the temperature, then note the temperature. For if the temperature is near about, let us suppose 28 degrees Celsius, and after adding Fe, start shaking the conical flask, you will find that there is a evolution of heat, and this evolution of heat increases the temperature, and the temperature will be near about 35 degrees Celsius. And in this way, we can also see the increase in the temperature, and increase in the temperature means the chemical reaction is exothermic, that is they are exothermic reaction in which heat is liberated. And in this way, in the book, see, they have given one experiment. Take 5 beakers, and in 5 beakers, in the beaker A, copper sulfate plus zinc, just we have studied copper sulfate plus zinc, displacement reaction will take place. Then copper sulfate plus Fe granules, displacement reaction will take place. Zinc sulfate plus copper, copper is less reactive, therefore cannot displace the zinc, and therefore there will be no reaction. Then next is iron sulfate plus copper turning, again no reaction because copper is less reactive than iron, and element having low reactivity cannot displace the element having high reactivity, therefore there will be no reaction. Zinc sulfate plus iron nail or zinc sulfate plus iron filing, no chemical reaction because iron is less reactive than zinc, and in this way this is the displacement reaction. So what is the last point, important point? Element having high reactivity or a more reactive element can displace the less reactive element from its salt solution, and all displacement reactions are likely to be exothermic. So this is about we have said the exothermic reaction, and the last part of this lesson is the uses of metals and non-metals. Now you know the uses of metals and non-metals because gold is used for making the jewelry, and the ladies use the jewelry, gold jewelry, silver jewelry, and silver is also used for making utensils, and these utensils are used by human being. Then iron is most useful metal which is used for making the, you can say, building, for construction, in the construction of the building. The columns, they are constructed by using the iron bar. Iron bars are taken, the slab is constructed with the help of iron bar. Without iron bar, there is no construction of building. Iron can be converted into thin sheet, that is what we call it as tin. And medium people, they are also using the tin for the construction of the houses. So iron is more useful. Then other metal, cobalt. Cobalt 60 is used, it gives out radioactive radiation, and which is used for cancer therapy, isn't it? Cobalt radiation. So copper, copper is most useful metal. We are using the copper metal for making the utensil, and these utensils are used in our home for storing the water, and the water, for example, a copper vessel is filled with the water during the night, and when we get up early in the morning, we drink the copper wire, because some of the copper ions get dissolved in the water, and these copper ions are very useful for our digestive system. So it is the principle of Ayurveda. So Ayurveda says, store the water in the copper vessel during the night, and when you get up early in the morning, you drink the water which is stored in the copper vessel. So in this way, copper vessel, copper metal is used. Then about the non-metal, for example, oxygen. Every living organism cannot survive without oxygen. So oxygen is most essential element for our survival, because continuously 24/7 we are respiring and we need the oxygen. For example, if there would have been no oxygen for 2 minutes, our survival is not possible. So oxygen is highly useful. And in our chemistry, oxygen is used for making the oxides of the element. Metal converted into metal oxides by using oxygen, by heating. Non-metals are converted. Similarly, oxygen is essential for the combustion of these substances. For example, for the burning of the wood, for the burning of the candle, for burning of the any material, oxygen is essential. Then phosphorus. Phosphorus is used for making the phosphate, and these phosphates are used as fertilizers. You know, nitrogen. Nitrogen is converted into ammonia, ammonia is converted into urea, and urea is a fertilizer. So in this way, all these metals and non-metals, they are highly useful. And similarly, many metals, they are used in the medicine also. So many metals, non-metals, they are used in medicine. Chlorine. Now you know chlorine. The chlorine is added in the water to kill the germs. Now presently corona is going on, and we are killing the coronavirus by spraying the sodium hypochlorite. It is the solution of sodium hypochlorite which liberate the chlorine, and chlorine kills the germs. Chlorine kills the germs present in the water also, and in this way the chlorine is also used as a oxidizing agent. Chlorine is used in washing and in laundry also. Chlorine is used in paper and textile industry also. So large number of uses are there. And you know, non-metal used in purple color solution, usually applying the wounds. Iodine. Now iodine, tincture iodine. For example, how tincture iodine solution is prepared? The solid iodine is taken, it is dissolved in the alcohol, and that solution is called tincture iodine. So this tincture iodine is applied on the injury, applied on the wounds, in order to prevent the sepsis. That is, there is an attack of bacteria which causes the pus formation in our injury. And if the, you can say, iodine dissolved in the alcohol, which is called tincture iodine, is applied generally, which prevents the attack of bacteria and prevents the pus formation in the wounds and injuries. Clear? So in this way I have explained almost all uses to you, and you are also knowing the other uses of the metals and non-metals, and this is the end of our first topic, materials, metals and non-metals. झाला का टाइम पहा.